YouTube. What up, YouTube? It's your boy number 4. You know I got my ski. Alright, gang, today we back with another video, man. This is the mini murders of Lil Durk part 7. You know what I'm saying? It might be part 6 or part 7. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. But we back with another video. You feel me? I ain't gonna talk too much. Just make sure you subscribe. I'm on the road to 200 subscribers, and make sure you like the video, gang. Let's get at least 10 likes. 10 likes, bro. That's simple. Simple. 10 likes, gang. Like the video. Let's do it. You feel me? But make sure you go tune in to the part 1 through 6. But let's go.
Hey, in life shit, I don't really need nobody. I don't really even need nobody. I'ma take off, but they ain't tryna see me grind. All them niggas tryna see me behind them. I just went to Rollie, said fuck all the time. It just been me and the booth, nigga grind. These niggas be snake, all these fuck nigga grind. Telling the truth and they stay.
11, where 14s had gotten shot in Woodlawn, with one of these allegedly being FBG Butter, a member of STL-EBT and a good friend of Duck. FBG Butter would be a big part of this early beef, particularly between STL-EBT and O-Block. He would tell DJ Vlad in an interview about the juvenile origins of this beef, revealing that King Von actually threw his hat in the mud as a kid, and that years later, he'd actually beaten up Von on the bus after school, which apparently caused Von to become very vengeful.
When we was shorties, through my church, the legend had in the mud down in the basement of the back of his mama's house. I threw my downstairs in the basement to the mud. Bro, I beat this.
And he said to the mud.
Then to one of the guys at school, I guess they was in that shooting nights or whatever. Folks who he got into it was too big for him. And folks just told him, like, wait till we get out of school, I'm gonna have my little homie scratch you out. Talking crazy, not knowing who his little homie is. So when I came on the bus, folks like, man, whoop him, buddy. I'm like, man, buddy, yo, tweaking with me. Broski said whoop you, so I had to whoop him.
There are also some more serious examples from these early days where Lambron allegedly became directly...
I ain't gonna lie, I done been in that position a couple times. You know what I'm saying? I ain't nobody little nigga, gang. I ain't whooping nobody off the strength. You know what I'm saying, gang? You feel me? No cow. So Butter, that's little nigga activities.
Involved in the rivalry against STL-EBT. For example, when in 2011, a young man affiliated with STL-EBT named Dale Fisher was gunned down in Woodlawn. Some of Dale's friends would seemingly blame Lambron for this murder. Similarly, when a member of STL-EBT called Doc, real name Marlon Monroe, was gunned down in Woodlawn in April 2012, the police would state in their investigative report that people close to Doc held Lambron as one of the parties responsible for his death on social media. And, as I covered in my video about King Von, there's evidence to suggest that Von himself may well have pulled the trigger during both of these murders. Or, if you're to believe FBG Butter, also known as Core.
Yeah, why they keep... What the fuck was he on in this mugshot, gang? Butter.
Creator 3 during Duck's murder trial, Dale may have also been killed by Von's best friend T-Roy, together with another infamous shooter D. Rose from the set 600. But in any case, April 2012 is when FBG Duck himself would aim his perhaps first musical diss towards Duck's Lambron crew, dropping his song I'm St. Lawrence, also known as Chief Keef and Soulja Boy diss. The song is a remix of Chief Keef's 300 song, with 300 also being a number that was originally repped, particularly by Duck's Lambron set and people affiliated with it. Duck begins the song by saying that it's F.O. Block and F. Lambron, which is a direct response to Keef's line in the original 300 song dissing Duck's dead friend Tuka from STL-EBT. About a month earlier, Duck had also released his hit song L's Anthem, which was also repping the 300 moniker, whilst also dissing Lambron's biggest rivals, Brick Squad. As a response to Duck's dissing, the rapper Lil Jojo from Brick Squad would release his song BDK in April, aimed at...
Let me show you why I stopped paying for all my other sample libraries. This is Arcade by Output. This thing has sounds, samples, instruments, effects.
Particularly at Durk and Lambron. However, the chorus of the song would go much further than that, essentially dissing all of the Black Disciple sets in Chicago, as JoJo would announce that he and his set are BDK, or Black Disciple Killers. All of this was happening at a moment when the drill music movement was blowing up way past the borders of Chicago to worldwide notoriety, all with the help of Chief Keef. And with the possibilities of fame and fortune at the fingertips of every driller and drill rapper, this created the perfect conditions for the gang war between the BD and GD factions to escalate. And soon, FBG Duck would join in on the BD killer movement too, tweeting the same sentiment. And from there, Duck and STL-EBT would get heavily affiliated with JoJo and Brick Squad, with Brick Squad and STL-EBT, and particularly JoJo and Duck, then becoming the biggest faces of the GD side within the drill scene, together with guys like Lil J, who was focusing heavily on dissing Chief Keef and O-Block in his music. But unfortunately, in early September 2012, Lil Jojo would be gunned down in Brick Squad's neighborhood, becoming the first highly publicized example of how beefs in this new musical genre of drill could lead to real-life deaths in the streets. Jojo's murder would go unsolved, and it would do little to steer guys like Duck away from dissing the BD side in music or on social media. In fact, it would only incite more dissing, with Duck tweeting after JoJo's death that he would be continuing the BDK legacy in his memory. One person from the BD side who Duck would go back and forth with on social media was none other than King Von, with one time even Von's own sister Kayla B getting involved in their beef and taking the GD side in tweets seeming to back Duck up. Every now and then, Duck's dissing would also...
Wasn't Kayla B over there with them guys? You feel me? Kayla B was playing both sides, wasn't she?
Be aimed at Lil Durk personally, like in September 2013, when he would call Durk a fake gangster on Twitter, as well as dissing J Money, one of Durk's close friends from O Block, who was killed in 2013, allegedly by a member of STL EBT called Lil B. Durk would seemingly respond the next month in October when he would drop his classic drill song Competition featuring Lil Reese, where he would call Duck Lil Duck and rap how that he can't duck Durk's gun. Later that month, Duck's friend Lil J, who Durk had also dissed, would drop his response to the song titled Competition Domination, where he would call Durk an actor and tell how he was going to put him under the dirt. Duck would also continue throwing little jabs at Durk on social media, like in October 2014, some months after Durk's beloved cousin Newski had been killed, when Duck would take to Twitter just to announce that he was smoking on Newski. Durk would seemingly respond to these jabs in December 2014 when he would feature on the remix for E-Day's song War. This was perhaps Durk's most brazen diss so far, as he would begin his verse by saying how he's considered to be the one who initially sparked the GD versus BD war, this being a reference to how Lil Jojo had seemingly created the BDK song as a direct response to Lil Durk's L's Anthem song. Durk would then up the ante and diss numerous people and sets from the GD side of the war, including Duck's STL EBT set, and two of his close friends who had been killed in the war, Tuka and KI. A few years would pass, but in 2016, Duck would continue dissing on the music side, as he would release his mixtape, This How I'm Coming, which would begin with an intro song where Duck would once again diss Durk's cousin, Newski. In 2017, the war between the BDs and the GDs would intensify considerably after one of O Block's most beloved members, the best friend of King Von, T-Roy, would be gunned down inside of a corner store, and the people responsible for T-Roy's murder were allegedly TB or Terry Barry from Taekwon World, and Can't Get Right, aka Get Right, or Man Man from STL EBT, who would be seen posing for a picture in the exact same clothing from the surveillance footage of the murder earlier that month, while one of the people in the photo would be none other than FBG.
Ain't no way, and I ain't gonna say nothing.
Duck himself. Duck would also go live on Instagram shortly after T-Roy's murder, where his brother Brick can be heard talking about the murder before Duck cuts him off and makes some very disrespectful statements.
Look on them on here going, they so happy, it been funny film, I know folks know, proud, they got him out the way. I know I'm on live, G, shut up. It's funny. Before you even get it, it just came on. But still, get his Instagram. It deleted yesterday. It just came on. But damn, G, don't start. Damn, merchant, they popped T-Roy. It must don't be. It must ain't that important. It ain't all over the internet. I ain't see it.
T-Roy's death would cause a chain reaction of revenge killings, where O Block and 600 would team up to create what they called the Get Back Gang, a group of killers hell-bent on avenging or getting back for T-Roy, with numerous people losing their lives during this period, including Duck's very own brother FBG Brick, who was gunned down in a brutal double murder. But all of this wouldn't seem to scare Duck, who would keep dissing his enemies in his music, like the song Smoke, that he would release with Chirac's official peace pusher, FYB J-Mane, who at the time was still in his over-whooping era dissing all the ops. J-Mane would rap incredibly disrespectful bars, like how he was smoking on Durk's good friends, the late rapper L.A. Capone, and the O-Block member J Money, or Durk's manager Chino, and in his verse, Duck too would join in the smoke-a-thon of Durk's friends, before also rapping how he was going to slide to Durk's hood in Lambron, aka 64th and Normal, and shoot it up. But talking about sliding, while he didn't quite know it yet at the time, Duck was on the cusp of his big breakthrough, as he would release the second installment of his This Is How I'm Coming mixtape series, which would include the hit song Slide. After the release of the music video for the song in January 2018, the track would go viral, taking Duck's career to the next level, as he would suddenly become a nationwide drill star, arguably for the first time in his career, actually reaching fans outside of the drill niche. He would get noticed by major hip-hop publications like XXL magazine, and the song would even lead to Duck signing his first ever record deal, and getting a major co-sign by the Atlanta rapper 21 Savage, who hopped on the remix. 21, who had previously done music with Lil Durk, and moving in the same circles of rappers living in Atlanta, was seemingly unaware about the long-running tension between Duck and Durk. He must not have even realized that some fans were suggesting that the entire Slide song was actually a huge diss towards OTF. But anyway, during 2018, this was also the year when Durk was making a comeback musically with the help of his new street prodigy, King Von, whose beef with Duck was much more personal due to the years-running war between O-Block and the GD sets of Woodlawn, such as Duck's STL EBT set, with Von himself rumored to have been behind the murders of several people affiliated with Duck's set. Therefore, it was no surprise then that since Von's first hit song, the December 2018 release track Crazy Story, he would often aim disses directly at STL EBT, even creating the popular catchphrase dissing that neighborhood, saying "We not from 63rd," even going as far as to create numerous pieces of merch so fans could also express their dislike of Duck's block. Duck would seemingly respond to Von in a scathing diss track together with another GD rapper and his own cousin, Ruger, who would ultimately make his own nationwide breakthrough a few years later with his track GD Anthem. But back then, it would be this song, a remix of King Von and Mimo 600's track, Exposing Me, that would include disrespectful mentions of numerous dead members from the BD side of the war, with the track remaining to be one of the most brutal diss songs released in this entire feud. A few months later, Durk would let it be known that he too was joining Von's crusade against Duck and his set, as Von and Durk would release Crazy Story Part 2, which ends with Durk repeating how they're lurking in 63rd, looking to catch their enemies. However, at the end of 2019, something surprising would take place, as Duck would release his song, Chicago Legends, where he would pay tribute to many fallen rappers from Chicago, one of these being Durk's cousin Newski, whom Duck had dissed in the past several times. It's hard to say exactly what Duck's motives were. On the one hand, he could have been purely trying to push peace, but on the other, perhaps he was simply just trying to create a song that he knew would get some attention in the media. But one thing was clear, Von was certainly not interested in pushing peace, and only a few months later, he would release his song, Took Her to the O. To a mainstream listener, the song seemed like a rather standard trap club song, with Von's trademark storytelling style playing a major role. But to drill fans, the song was a dedicated diss track, where Von would essentially lay out a story where he runs into Duck as Von is courting the same girl. This encounter would ultimately end in Von killing Duck and taking that girl. The song would also include disses towards Duck that only the most dedicated Chiracologists would likely know, like Von making a funny but disrespectful wordplay about Duck picking up a brick and then merching it or swearing in the name of his brother Brick, who had been killed in 2017. Took Her to the O was a smash hit, which now has over 300 million views on YouTube alone. And after the song's release, it was clear that Duck would have to make a stern response. His response would come only about a week later, releasing the track I'm From 63rd. Interestingly, while the song as a whole was a direct response to Von and his favourite catchphrase, it was actually Durk who Duck would address by name, essentially little boying Von, making it seem as if it was the big dog Durk who had sent Von to diss him on his behalf, as well as acknowledging how Durk and Duck had been going back and forth on wax long before Von had even picked up a microphone. But Duck wasn't done with the dissing, and it was his next diss song which would be one of his most disrespectful ones yet, unfortunately also his last song, the infamous track Dead. Duck would begin the song by immediately announcing that the Chicago Legends track was nothing but business, before going straight back to dissing dead people from the BD side. Duck would also acknowledge Von mentioning his brother Brick in the song Took Her to the O, saying that Brick had been slinging dope when Von was still doing kid stuff like swimming and fishing, before dropping some more highly disrespectful bars about dead members from sets like 600 and O-Block. Unfortunately, the rest is history. Dead certainly increased the size of the target on Duck's back, but regardless at this point, he was the most high-profile GD rapper from 63rd, and probably the biggest trophy in the streets for his ops. Sadly, in August 2020, about a month after releasing that song, Duck would end up getting brutally gunned down by members and affiliates of O-Block in a brazen, broad daylight attack in Chicago's most upscale shopping district, located in the Gold Coast neighborhood, right in front of the Dolce & Gabbana store. Now, if you want to see a deep dive all into the details of the murder of FBG Duck and the aftermath, you can go and check out my 2.5-hour video just on that topic. But for the purpose of this video, let's keep things brief and focused on Durk's connection to the crime. Because right after Duck's murder, Durk would once again be caught right in the middle of an Instagram live when fans would begin to barrage him with comments about Duck's passing, with Durk acting like nothing had ever happened, showing himself hopping off a private jet in good spirits, while completely ignoring the imploring messages about the death of his biggest enemy.
Make a plan, watch the score in the mail. 39 years, I heard him crying and say, oh, boy, getting money right up. I took a picture on my block, they think I'm back in the field.
Von, on the other hand, would come out with the most unconvincing statement, trolling the whole world, saying how the two had settled their differences right before Duck's passing, even adding sarcastic lines about how he was going to be thinking of Duck every step of the way, and also making snide remarks about how Duck had been dissing his dead friends and family members. Meanwhile, as time went on, the feds would get involved in Duck's murder investigation and track down the entire route that the killers had taken to the murder scene, tracing their origin back all the way to O-Block, with surveillance footage literally filming the entire crime, with them driving from O-Block to the murder, committing it, and then driving back again. However, even with all of this evidence, it would be over a year before the feds would even be able to move in with their indictment. Eventually, in September 2021, the feds would indict 5 people for the murder of Duck. Charles Liggins, aka C. Murder, Kenneth Robertson, aka Kenny Mack, DeCarlos Offord, aka Los, Christopher Thomas, aka C-Fang, and Marcus Smart, aka Muwop, as well as another man, Ralph Turpin, aka Teasy, who had been the person that spotted Duck and gave up his location. With such a clear trail left behind by the so-called O-Block 6, also known as the Sloppy 6, it was inevitable that they would also eventually be found guilty, and all 6 are ultimately facing mandatory life sentences, while a 7th person associated with the murder, Zell Munna from O Block, would sadly end up taking his own life before the FBI could indict him. However, during and after the trial, the discussion would also focus on the possible culpability of Von and Lil Durk in Duck's murder, particularly as the prosecution's legal documents would claim that Turpin, aka TZ, allegedly called someone after he spotted Duck in the shopping district, asking around to get put in contact with Lil Durk's brother and manager, D-Thang, who was coincidentally no longer alive by the time these arrests took place. The indictment would also mention a person named as Individual E, who pretty clearly appears to be Lil Durk, being listed as a high-ranking member of the BDs, with these details suggesting that even the FBI wasn't ruling out the possibility of Lil Durk's personal involvement in the hit on FBG Duck, but avoiding naming him specifically. In fact, based on these documents, some YouTubers would even claim that D-Thang would have been indicted too if he hadn't been killed in June 2021. Furthermore, it would be revealed that there had allegedly been up to a $100,000 bounty placed on Duck's head leading up to the murder, with many pointing out to a vlog filmed in O Block a couple months before the murder took place that showed Von.
Here's how the average man's life would change if he used pie for 5 days straight. Day 1,
he on giving out wads.
Just use that ad as a motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? But gang, this was part 6 or part 7, one of them, you know what I'm saying? We got a lot more to go. We hour and 30 down. We got approximately 3.5 hours to go, you feel me? So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. We're going to get this shit figured out, and we're going to get it done. You feel me? But there ain't no rush. Just hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Make sure you like the video. Let's get at least 20 likes. Man, click on one of these videos right here. I'll catch y'all boys in the next one, man. I'm gone. Keep.